Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to Saturday live stream. So, um, to get started, uh, we're going to start off with comment of the week. And this week's comment of the week comes from Dr. Mark Warner on Jehovah's Witnesses, God's Name, Lower Background. Russell, talking about C.T. Russell, couldn't speak, understand Hebrew, Aramaic, or even Greek. He relied on the King James Bible, which is not my idea of sacred. So, yeah, I totally agree. In fact, I can't remember why this court case happened, but there was a court case involving Judge Rutherford, and he was the one that decided that the Jehovah's Witnesses needed their own translation of the Bible. So he got up this committee, and he obviously, since he was the dictator of the JWs at the time, he had the final say. So there was this court case, and I don't know, I'm not quite sure what it was about, but one of the lawyers got up and said, Mr. Rutherford, do you speak Greek? And do you speak and read Greek? And he said, Rutherford said, well, yes, I do. So the lawyer, I love this dude. This lawyer's like my hero, even though I really don't like lawyers. But anyway, this lawyer puts a sentence down in front of him in Greek, and he says, please read that. And Rutherford, to his chagrin, had to admit that he could not read or write Greek. So basically, you've got a bunch of JWs, about 8.5 million JWs, trusting a quote unquote translation that who knows if it's even trustworthy, which of course it's not, because all you have to do is compare it to interlinears. So anyway, yes, Robert, they are. So anyway, all right. So yeah, big big surprise. Russell and Rutherford couldn't read or write Hebrew, Aramaic, or Greek, which is a surprise to nobody. At least it shouldn't be. All right, today in history. English astronomer William Herschel observed this day in 1781 the seventh planet from the sun, Uranus. And yes, I am going to say Uranus, and fuck you, all of you people who are too immature to see that it is a proper name. Anyway, getting back, sorry for the tangent. First described by him as a, quote, curious either nebulous star or perhaps a comet, end quote, and named for the father of the god Saturn. Uh, Robert, actually, the JWs, the Australian government has a national redress scheme. And their first tactic was not to strong arm these organizations, because they weren't just religious organizations, they were also civilian organizations too. Their first tactic was not to strong arm these people into signing up for the National Redress Scheme. Their first tactic, which is awesome, was to name and shame. So when the Australian Royal Commission came up with the National Redress Scheme, the Jehovah's Witnesses did not sign up. And there were only 3 organizations which did not sign up. So, true to their word, the Australian government named and shamed them. And the Jehovah's Witnesses still wouldn't sign up, and still wouldn't sign up, and still wouldn't sign up, and still wouldn't sign up, until the very last minute when Australia said, look, you're either going to sign up for this national redress scheme, or we are going to take away your tax exempt status. Guess what? Oh, nevermore. Seriously, I mean, um, Hovind, that asshole, he's like, he's he won't say it. He'll say Uranus or something like that. And I'm like, why? Why are you saying that? Because even if you say anus, anus is just a part of this friggin' body, you stupid shit. Anyway, enough of that. All right. Getting on to the main event of the day. Sorry about those tangents. Main event of the day, making fun of the Bible. So, today we are talking about Exodus 35 to 40. We're talking about Sabbath days and more on the tabernacle. And, I mean, it's just like, anyway, we're going to get into it because so 35 verse 1. Moses assembled the whole Israelite community and said to them, these are the things the Lord has commanded you to do. For 6 days work is to be done, but the 7th day shall be your holy day, a day of Sabbath rest to the Lord. Whoever does any work on it is to be put to death. Do not light a fire in any of your dwellings on the Sabbath day. Man, that's just cruel. What if it's like 0 degrees out? Of course, it wouldn't be in this area, but I'm just saying, like, it might be in the mountains, but I mean, I'm just saying that's not. And babies come when babies come. They don't ask permission to come. They just come. What, you gonna stone the mom for being in labor on the Sabbath? Verse 4. Moses said to the whole Israelite community, "This is what the Lord has commanded. From what you have, take an offering for the Lord. Everyone who is willing is to bring to the Lord an offering of gold, silver, and bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and fine linen, goat hair, ram skins dyed red, and another type of durable leather, acacia wood, olive oil for the light." Hang on. Olive oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil and for the fragrant incense, and onyx stones and other gems to be mounted on the ephod and breastpiece. All who are skilled among you are to come and make everything the Lord has commanded: the tabernacle with its tent and its covering, clasps, frames, crossbars, posts, and bases, the ark with its poles and the atonement cover and the curtain that shields it, the table with its poles and all its articles, and the bread of the presence, the lampstand that is for light with its accessories, lamps and oil for the light, the altar of incense with its poles, the anointing oil and the fragrant incense, the curtain for the doorway at the entrance to the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offering with its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the bronze basin with its stand, the curtains of the courtyard with its posts and bases, and the curtain for the entrance to the courtyard, the tent pegs for the tabernacle and for the courtyard, and their ropes, the woven garments worn for ministering in the sanctuary, both the sacred garments for Aaron and the priests, and the garments for his sons when they serve as priests. Okay, can I just say something right here? We already know what you commanded to be built, God. Did you really have to go on this long spiel? I mean, that was like 13 verses long. Verse 20. Then the whole Israelite community withdrew from Moses' presence, and everyone who was willing and whose heart moved them came and brought an offering to the Lord for the work on the tent of meeting, for all its service, and for the sacred garments. All who were willing, men and women alike, came and brought gold jewelry of all kinds, brooches, earrings, rings, and ornaments. They all presented their gold as a wave offering to the Lord. So, wait a minute. I just got to say this again. So, okay. So, before this, they had Aaron melt down gold to make a calf so that they could worship it. Okay. And so, when Moses came down off of Sinai, he burnt the golden calf and mixed it with water and made the people drink. Ugh. Okay. So, anyway, so they have more gold? Where did all this fucking gold come from? That's what I want to know. Verse 23. Everyone who had blue, purple, or scarlet yarn, or fine linen, or goat hair, ram skins dyed red, or the other durable leather brought them. Those presenting an offering of silver or bronze brought it as an offering to the Lord, and everyone who had acacia wood for any part of the work brought it. Every skilled woman spun with her hands and brought what she had spun: blue, purple, or scarlet yarn or fine linen. And all the women who were willing and had the skill spun the goat hair. The leaders brought onyx stones and other gems to be mounted on the ephod and breastpiece. They also brought spices and olive oil for the light and for the anointing oil and for the fragrant incense. All the Israelite men and women who were willing brought to the Lord freewill offerings for all the work the Lord through Moses had commanded them to do. Hi, Iron. How you doing? Verse 30. Then Moses said to the Israelites, "See, the Lord has chosen Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and he has filled him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom, with understanding, with knowledge, and with all kinds of skills, to make artistic designs for work in gold, silver, and bronze, to cut and set stones and wood, and to engage in all kinds of artistic crafts." First of all, I want you to note an L name, which is Bezalel, not a Yahweh name, which in the English Bible would start with a J. Second of all, no, God, you did not bless Bezalel and Oholiab with these skills. They did it themselves. They earned it. Let them keep their goddamn pride. Verse 34. And he has given both him and Oholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, the ability to teach others. And, by the way, just in case you're new to this channel, you can go back and see my other Saturday live streams. But just in case you're new to my channel, the 12 tribe schema is absolutely a fabrication. Verse 35. He has filled them with skill. No, he hasn't. To do all kinds of work as engravers, designers, embroiderers, and blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and fine linen, and weavers. All of them skilled workers and designers. Chapter 36, verse 1. So Bezalel, Oholiab, and every skilled person to whom the Lord has given skill and ability to know how to carry out all the work of constructing the sanctuary are to do the work just as the Lord has commanded. Okay, so I got a question. If God is just going to beam down the knowledge into their head, like one of those Star Trek beams, why did he bother to give all the instructions to Moses? Verse 2. Then Moses summoned Bezalel and Oholiab and every skilled person to whom the Lord had given ability and who was willing to come and do the work. They received from Moses all the offerings the Israelites had brought to carry out the work of constructing the sanctuary. And the people continued to bring freewill offerings morning after morning. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? These people don't have that much stuff. They're in the goddamn desert. Verse 4. So all the skilled workers who were doing all the work on the sanctuary left what they were doing and said to Moses, The people are bringing more than enough for doing the work the Lord commanded to be done. Sure they did. Sure they did. Verse 6. Then Moses gave an order, and they sent this word throughout the camp. No man or woman is to make anything else as an offering for the sanctuary. And so the people were restrained from bringing more, because what they already had was more than enough to do all the work. Verse 8. All those who were skilled among the workers made the tabernacle with 10 curtains of finely twisted linen and blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, with cherubim woven into them by expert hands. I still have no idea what the fuck a cherubim is. Or looks like, rather. I know what it is, I just don't know what one looks like. Verse 9. All the curtains were the same, 28 cubits long and 4 cubits wide. They joined 5 of the curtains together and did the same with the other 5. Then they made loops of blue material along the edge of the end curtain in one set, and the same was done with the end curtain in the other set. They also made 50 loops on one curtain and 50 loops on the end curtain of the other set, with the loops opposite each other. Then they made 50 gold clasps and used them to fasten the 2 sets of curtains together, so that the tabernacle was a unit. Verse 14. They made curtains of goat hair for the tent over the tabernacle, 11 altogether. All 11 curtains were the same size, 30 cubits long and 4 cubits wide. They joined 5 of the curtains into one set and the other 6 into another set. Then they made 50 loops along the edge of the end curtain in one set and also along the edge of the end curtain in the other set. I don't know about you, but this is confusing me. Verse 18. They made 50 bronze clasps to fasten the tent together as a unit. Then they made for the tent a covering of ram skins dyed red, and over that a covering of the other durable leather. They made upright frames of acacia wood for the tabernacle. Yep. Can't have just any wood. Gotta have that acacia wood. Verse 21. Each frame was 10 cubits long and a cubit and a half wide, with 2 projections set parallel to each other. They made all the frames of the tabernacle in this way. They made 20 frames for the south side of the tabernacle and made 40 silver bases to go under them, 2 bases for each frame, 1 under each projection. For the other side, the north side of the tabernacle, they made 20 frames and 40 silver bases, 2 under each frame. They made 6 frames for the far end, that is the west end of the tabernacle, and 2 frames were made for the corners of the tabernacle at the far end. This just sounds like gobbledygook to me. I'm sorry. Verse 29. At these 2 corners, the frames were double from the bottom all the way to the top and fitted into a single ring. Both were made alike. So there were 8 frames and 16 silver bases, 2 under each frame. Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. Verse 31. They also made crossbars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames on one side of the tabernacle, 5 for those on the other side, and 5 for the frames on the west at the far end of the tabernacle. They made the center crossbar so that it extended from end to end at the middle of the frames. They overlaid the frames with gold and made gold rings to hold the crossbars. They also overlaid the crossbars with gold. Verse 35. They made the curtain of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and finely twisted linen with cherubim woven into it by a skilled worker. They made 4 posts of acacia wood for it and overlaid them with gold. They made gold hooks for them and cast their 4 silver bases. Where the hell are they getting all this gold and silver? Verse 37. For the entrance to the tent, they made a curtain of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and finely twisted linen, the work of an embroiderer. And they made 5 posts with hooks for them. They overlaid the tops of the posts and their bands with gold and made their 5 bases of bronze. Chapter 37. Bezalel made the ark of acacia wood, because I don't want just any wood, says God. I want it made out of acacia. 2.5 cubits long, a cubit and a half wide, and a cubit and a half high. He overlaid it with pure gold, both inside and out, and made a gold molding around it. He cast 4 gold rings for it and fastened them to its 4 feet with 2 rings on one side and 2 rings on the other. Then he made poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. And he inserted the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark to carry it. I'm not even going to say it. You know what I'm going to say? I'm not even going to say it. Verse 6. He made the atonement cover of pure gold, 2.5 cubits long and a cubit and a half wide. Then he made 2 cherubim out of hammered gold at the ends of the cover. He made 1 cherubim out on one end and the second cherub on the other. At the 2 ends, he made them of one piece with the cover. The cherubim had their wings spread upward, overshadowing the cover with them. The cherubim faced each other, looking toward the cover. I know, right, Robert? Oh, that's true too, Iron. Uh, okay. Verse 10. They made the table of acacia wood, 2 cubits long, a cubit wide, and a cubit and a half high. And yes, if you have deja vu, it's because God's already been over this shit. Verse 11. Then they overlaid it with pure gold and made a gold molding around it. They also made around it a rim a handbreadth wide and put gold molding on the rim. They cast 4 gold rings for the table and fastened them to the 4 corners where the 4 legs were. The rings were put close to the rim to hold the poles used in carrying the table. The poles for carrying the table were made of acacia wood and were overlaid with gold. Of course they were. And they were made from pure gold, the articles of the table, its plates and dishes and bowls, and its pitchers for the pouring out of drink offerings. I just got to say this. Sounds to me like Aaron and his sons just wanted to eat off of gold plates. Verse 17, they made the lampstand of pure gold. They hammered out its base and shaft and made its flower-like cups, buds, and blossoms of one piece with them. 6 branches extended from the sides of the lampstand, 3 on one side, 3 on the other. 3 cups shaped like almond flowers with buds and blossoms were on one branch. Wait a minute. Shaped like 3 cups shaped like almond flowers with buds and blossoms were on one branch, 3 on the next branch, and the same for all 6 branches extending from the lampstand. And on the lampstand were 4 cups shaped like almond flowers with buds and blossoms. One bud was under the first pair of branches extending from the lampstand, a second bud under the lampstand, and a third bud under the third pair. 6 branches in all. The buds and the branches were all of one piece with the lampstand, hammered out of pure gold. And now I need a bud. Verse 23. They made its 7 lamps, as well as its wick trimmers and trays of pure gold. They made the lampstand and all its accessories from 1 talent of pure gold. They made the altar of incense out of acacia wood. It was square, a cubit long, a cubit wide, and 2 cubits high. Well, that's rather lopsided. Its horns of one piece with it. They overlaid the top, and all the sides and the horns with pure gold and made a gold molding around it. They made 2 gold rings below the molding, 2 on each of the opposite sides, to hold the poles used to carry it. They made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. They also made the sacred anointing oil and the pure, fragrant incense, the work of a perfumer. Chapter 38. They built the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood, 3 cubits high. It was square, 5 cubits long and 5 cubits wide. They made a horn at each of the 4 corners so that the horns and the altar were of one piece, and they overlaid the altar with bronze. They made all its utensils of bronze, its pots, shovels, sprinkling bowls, meat forks, and fire pans. They made a grating for the altar, a bronze network, to be under its ledge. Halfway up the altar, they cast bronze rings to hold the poles for the 4 corners of the bronze grating. They made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. They inserted the poles into the rings so they would be on the sides of the altar for carrying it. They made it hollow, out of boards. And if you want me to translate that, I can't, because this is all a bunch of shit. I have no idea, Iron Charioteer. Verse 8. They made the bronze basin and its bronze stand from the mirrors of the women who served at the entrance to the tent of meeting. Why were mirrors made out of bronze? Am I missing something? Verse 9. Next, they made the courtyard. The south side was 100 cubits long and had curtains of finely twisted linen with 20 posts and 20 bronze bases and with silver hooks and bands on the post. The north side was also 100 cubits long and had 20 posts and 20 bronze bases with silver hooks and bands on the posts. The west end was 50 cubits wide and had curtains with 10 posts and 10 bases with silver hooks and bands on the posts. The east end, toward sunrise, was also 50 cubits wide. Curtains 15 cubits long were on one side of the entrance with 3 posts and 3 bases, and curtains 15 cubits long were on the other side of the entrance to the courtyard with 3 posts and 3 bases. All the curtains around the courtyard were of finely twisted linen. The bases for the posts were bronze. The hooks and bands on the posts were silver, and their tops were overlaid with silver. So all the posts of the courtyard had silver bands. So apparently they had just as much silver as they had gold, and not as much bronze. So basically, these people are like way down to go into the desert. Okay. Not that this ever happened, because there's just no fucking way you can get all that shit in the desert. No way. Verse 18. The curtain for the entrance to the courtyard was made of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and finely twisted linen, the work of an embroiderer. It was 20 cubits long, and like the curtains of the courtyard, 5 cubits high, with 4 posts and 4 bronze bases. Their hooks and bands were silver, and their tops were overlaid with silver. All the tent pegs of the tabernacle and of the surrounding courtyard were bronze. Get ready for some more boring shit, people. Verse 21. These are the amounts of the materials used for the tabernacle of the covenant law, which were recorded at Moses' command by the Levites under the direction of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. Wait a minute, I thought God carved the law of the covenant with his own finger. We all know God suffers from Alzheimer's, so cut him a break. Bezalel, son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made everything the Lord commanded Moses. With him was Oholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and designer, and an embroiderer in blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine linen. The total amount of the gold from the wave offering used for all the work on the sanctuary was 29 talents and 730 shekels, according to the sanctuary shekel. And in the footnotes, it says the weight of the gold was a little over a ton. Bullshit. Verse 25. The silver obtained from those of the community who were counted in the census was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels, according to the sanctuary shekel. And according to that footnote, that is 3 3/4 tons. Again, bullshit. Hi, Anna. Hi, Kevin. One Becca, I have no idea what a Becca is, per person. That is half a shekel. Okay, so that's what a Becca is, half a shekel. Why don't they just give you this shit up front? According to the sanctuary shekel, from everyone who had crossed over to those counted 20 years old or more, a total of 603,550 men. I'm going to go off on another tangent here. According to Answers in Genesis, which is a really sucky, it's a creationist site, so what do you expect? It sucks anyway. But according to Answers in Genesis, or AIG as you might know them, after the flood, every generation would have doubled. So, like the first generation after the flood, you have 8 people coming off the ark. Then you have 16 people that generation next, and then 32 people after that, and it keeps doubling after that. Okay, so that's what AIG says to make all this bullshit work to get up to where we are today. Okay, which don't even go the population route. Don't even go there. It's not. You people are smart enough to know this. So anyway, but even given AIG's thing about doubling every generation, there would not have been 600,000 people in the entire world, let alone 600,000 Israelite men. Because remember, they only care about men. They don't give a shit about women. They don't give a shit about children. They only give a shit about men. The 100 talents of silver were used to cast the bases for the sanctuary and for the curtain. 100 bases from the 100 talents, 1 talent for each base. They used the 1,775 shekels to make the hooks for the posts, to overlay the tops of the posts, and to make their bands. The bronze from the wave offering was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels. And according to the footnote, that would be, hang on a minute here. Two and a half tons. Again, bullshit. Verse 30. They used it to make the bases for the entrance to the tent of meeting, the bronze altar with its bronze grating and all its utensils, the bases for the surrounding courtyard and those for its entrance, and all the tent pegs for the tabernacle and those for the surrounding courtyard. Almost there, people. Chapter 39. From the blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, they made woven garments for ministering in the sanctuary. They also made sacred garments for Aaron, as the Lord commanded Moses. They made the ephod of gold and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and of finely twisted linen. They hammered out thin sheets of gold and cut strands to be worked into the blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine linen, the work of skilled hands. They made shoulder pieces for the ephod, which were attached to two of its corners so it could be fastened. Its skillfully woven waistband was like it, of one piece with the ephod, and made with gold and with blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and with finely twisted linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. They mounted the onyx stones in gold filigree settings and engraved them like a seal with the names of the sons of Israel. Then they fastened them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod as memorial stones for the sons of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. They fashioned the breastpiece, the work of a skilled craftsman. We got it already, God. They were skilled. Quit repeating that. They made it like the ephod, of gold and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen. It was square, a span long and a span wide, and folded double. Then they mounted 4 rows of precious stones on it. The first row was carnelian, chrysolite, and beryl. The second row was turquoise, lapis lazuli, and emerald. The third row was jacinth, agate, and amethyst. The fourth row was topaz, onyx, and jasper. They were mounted in gold filigree settings. There were 12 stones, one for each of the names of the sons of Israel, each engraved like a seal with the name of one of the 12 tribes. Verse 15, for the breastpiece, they made braided chains of pure gold, like a rope. They made, okay, I just gotta ask, how are they doing all this shit in the desert? Verse 16, they made 2 gold filigree settings and 2 gold rings, and fastened the rings to 2 of the corners of the breastpiece. They fastened the 2 gold chains to the rings at the corner of the breastpiece, and the other ends of the chains to the 2 settings, attaching them to the shoulder pieces of the ephod at the front. They made 2 gold rings and attached them on the other 2 corners of the breastpiece on the inside edge next to the ephod. Then they made 2 more gold rings and attached them to the bottom of the shoulder pieces on the front of the ephod, close to the seam just above the waistband of the ephod. They tied the rings of the breastpiece to the rings of the ephod with blue cord, connecting it to the waistband so that the breastpiece would not swing out from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. Well, thank God, because you wouldn't want that thing to be swinging away and killing someone in the tabernacle of the congregation. Now, would you? Verse 22. They made the robe of the ephod entirely of blue cloth, the work of a weaver, with an opening in the center of the robe, like the opening of a collar, and a band around its opening, so that it would not tear. They made pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and finally twisted linen around the hem of the robe. I just gotta ask, why the hell does God need pomegranates? Why can't he just settle with apricots or pears? Verse 25. And they made bells of pure gold and attached them around the hem between the pomegranates. The bells and pomegranates alternated the hem of the robe to be worn for ministering, as the Lord commanded Moses. For Aaron and his sons, they made tunics of fine linen, the work of a weaver, and the turban of fine linen, the linen caps, and the undergarments of finely twisted linen. The sash was made of finely twisted linen and blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, the work of an embroiderer, as the Lord commanded Moses. They made the plate, the sacred emblem, out of pure gold and engraved on it, like an inscription on a seal, "Holy to the Lord." Then they fastened a blue cord to it to attach it to the turban, as the Lord commanded Moses. So all the work on the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, was completed. The Israelites did everything just as the Lord commanded Moses. Then they brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent and all its furnishings, its clasps, frames, crossbars, posts, and bases, the covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of another durable leather, and the shielding curtain. Why don't they ever name the other durable leather? Just a question. Verse 35, the Ark of the Covenant Law with its poles, and the atonement cover, the table with all its articles, and the bread of the presence, the pure gold lampstand with its row of lamps and all its accessories, and the olive oil for light, the gold altar, the anointing oil, the fragrance incense, and the curtain for the entrance to the tent, the bronze altar with bronze gratings, its poles and utensils, the basin with its stand, the curtains. You know what? You know what, God? Why don't you just say they brought it all? You know what? I'm not even going to bother reading the rest of that shit. Okay, verse 42. The Israelites had done all the work, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Moses inspected the work and saw that they had done it just as the Lord had commanded. So Moses blessed them. Okay, chapter 40, almost finished, people. And then we are done with the book of Exodus. Thank goodness. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Set up the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, on the first day of the first month. Place the Ark of the Covenant law in it, and shield the Ark with the curtain. Bring in the table and set out what belongs on it. Then bring in the lampstand and set up its lamps. Place the gold altar of incense in front of the Ark of the Covenant law, and put the curtain at the entrance to the tabernacle. Place the altar of burnt offering in front of the entrance to the tabernacle. The tent of meeting, place the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water in it. Set up the courtyard around it, and put the curtain at the entrance to the courtyard. Take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and everything in it." That's a waste of oil. And come on, God, quit wasting shit. Anoint the basin and its stand and consecrate them. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance to the tent of meeting and wash them with water. Then dress Aaron in the sacred garments, anoint him and consecrate him, so he may serve me as priest. I got a question. Didn't they do that last week when they put the blood on the ear of Aaron? Just asking. Verse 14. Bring his sons and dress them in tunics. Anoint them just as you anointed their father, so they may serve me as priests. Their anointing will be to a priesthood that will continue throughout their generations. Moses did everything just as the Lord commanded him. So the tabernacle was set up on the first day of the first month in the second year. When Moses set up the tabernacle, he put the bases in place, erected the frames, inserted the crossbars, and set up the posts. Then he spread the tent over the tabernacle and put the covering over the tent as the Lord commanded him. He took the tablets of the covenant law and placed them in the ark, attached the poles to the ark, and put the atonement cover over it. Then he brought the ark into the tabernacle and hung the shielding curtain and shielded the ark of the covenant law as the Lord commanded him. Moses placed the table in the tent of meeting on the north side of the tabernacle outside the curtain and set out the bread on it before the Lord as the Lord commanded him. Why does God need bread? Just asking. Why does God need bread? Verse 24. He placed the lampstand in the tent of meeting opposite the table on the south side of the tabernacle and set up the lamps before the Lord as the Lord commanded him. Moses placed the gold altar in the tent of meeting in front of the curtain and burned fragrant incense on it as the Lord commanded him. Then he put up the curtain at the entrance to the tabernacle. He set the altar of burnt offering near the entrance to the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and offered on it burnt offerings and grain offerings as the Lord commanded him. He placed the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar and put water in it for washing. And Moses and Aaron and his sons used it to wash their hands and feet. They washed whenever they entered the tent of meeting or approached the altar, as the Lord commanded Moses. Then Moses set up the courtyard around the tabernacle and altar and put up the curtain at the entrance to the courtyard. And so Moses finished the work. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses could not enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled on it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. In all the travels of the Israelites, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out. But if the cloud did not lift, they did not set out until the day it lifted. So the cloud of the Lord was over the tabernacle by day, and fire was in the cloud by night, in the sight of all the Israelites during all their travels. Ugh. And that's the end of Exodus. And if you think that was a crazy ride, people, just wait till we get to Leviticus. Ugh. Exactly, Robert. I don't know if you in Europe know what we're going over through here, but um on March 4th, the military was supposed to kick out uh President Biden and reinstate Trump, and that hasn't happened. And we haven't heard from the Trumpistas since. So, just an update. I don't know if you knew that or not, but yeah, they probably retreated with their tail between their legs. Hopefully. God, I hope so. Thanks, Iron Charioteer. We got more shit stories to come, by the way. So, anyway, um, if you want to become a member of the channel, the join link is under this. And, If you want something for your money, go over to my Teespring store. Links in the description. All social media links are in the description, basically. And if you want to catch me on Patreon, you can do that too. So, until next time, friends, stay safe and goodbye.